सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, महायोगी स्वामी उमानंद सरस्वती की जय. We are on 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We are just going to refer to the two words Purush and Prakriti again. We have come across these words when we were in chapter 13, but we are going to touch those two words again. So let us just categorize them into two simple factors. Prakriti is anything which has a name and form. That is Prakriti. And Purush is that element which does not have name and form, but by which it brings the Prakriti into light. I got it. Which brings the Prakriti into light, or it runs the Prakriti. I think that should be enough. So anything that has name and form is Prakriti, and anything which rules it, which rules whatever object. Now there is a glass, there is a table, there is a world, there is a continent, there is a river, there is a human being. All these have got names and forms. So whatever lies within the frame of names and forms is called Prakriti. And the other element, Purush, is that element which is the controller, the organizer, or the activator, or let's say it brings form and name into action or into light. It brings a form into action and name into light. So I think I have made this 13th chapter. Now we are going to the 14th, and we are going to talk about this Prakriti. Because we have decided anything which has name and form is Prakriti. That definition, let us keep it very firm in our mind. And this Prakriti has got its own three attributes. There are three gunas. Now these, I'll just name them. One is Sattva Gun, one is Rajo Gun, and one is Tamo Gun. Now it is like, suppose you say, sugar has qualities. What are the qualities? It is white, it is sweet, and maybe it could be crushed into powder or made crystals, or it can dissolve in the other elements like milk and curds and all. So dissolving element is there. So these are three qualities of sugar. Something similar, there are three qualities of Prakriti. Prakriti, as I have defined, is anything which has name and form is Prakriti. Okay, now this, whatever has name and form, has got these three attributes. One is Sattva Gun, second is Rajo Gun, and third is Tamo Gun. Now why is Sattva Gun there? Now Sattva Gun is that which binds us to the ultimate God. Our relationship with God is Sattva Gun based. It is driven by a quality of wanting to know that is born in us. Anything which has a name and form, which is of course live like you and me, is driven by a concept of curiosity and wanting to know. Now if there is let's say there is you are going by some street and you see a big crowd there, you start wondering, what is that crowd there for? So you may want to just step down and see, or if somebody has met with an accident, you would like to get down and see. So there is a curiosity. Now this curiosity is finally going to lead you to the ultimate truth, that is God. So this knowledge-based relationship is with God. So for God, actually he is out of our sight. We cannot see him much. But yet, whenever suppose we are not well, the first thing we'll say, where is God? Suppose you need to recover, you'll say, I wish God helps me. Suppose you need a job, whatever you need. So your relationship with God is a curiosity. Where? Where is he? So that curiosity binds us to God. Now the second quality of the Prakriti is action. So action binds man with the world. We are action bound, and action bound by the world. That is, if we need to make a place for ourselves in the society, then only we can relate with people. Suppose I have a shop, then I'll have customers coming to me. So there is a world created in that. If I'm a teacher, the students will start coming to me. And if I'm whatever you are, it is action based. Our relationship with the world is action based. And we had seen in chapter 2 that we should be action ruled, but it should be looked upon as duty. So we had touched this quality earlier. This is called as Rajogun. And the third gun is, of course, we are driven to a point of obsession sometimes. Now that obsession makes these two qualities turn into tamogun. You should not be obsessed. These are the negative traits in mankind, and they are, of course, defined as just ignorance. For example, let's say, even if there is an accident on the streets and you see it, and yet you are not very curious to wanting to know who the person is, you just tend to ignore it. Yes, I think I will use that word. Ignore the ignoring part of the ignorance, which leads to ignorance. I think that is tamogun. Tamogun, we should try to use the word, the ignoring element. You ignore certain things in life, and probably that is why there is ignorance. So we will treat it as a tamogun. So we are ruled by wanting to know, driven by knowledge, that is sattva gun. You are driven by action and ambition, that is rajogun. And when you decide to ignore, that should be tamogun. I think I like that definition. Let's see. We'll try and follow it until proved otherwise. So these are the three gunas. Now, when say a man dies, and he dies when he is ruled, one of the three are powerful in a daily situation. Sometimes sattva gun rules you, sometimes tamogun rules you, sometimes rajogun rules you. Obviously, you know that we want to do something, sometimes becomes very powerful in us. Sometimes we want to know something becomes powerful, and sometimes the act of ignoring becomes powerful. So one of the three takes the upper hand in us. Now, when suppose one dies when one of these prevailing gun are ruling, then if you are ruled by sattva gun and you die, you are said to go to heaven. It's supposed to be a better state. When you are ruled by rajogun and you die, you tend to come back to the mortal world. And the third one is tamogun. If you are ruled by tamogun, you are willing to be ignorant about it. Then you come back to the world which is lower than the mortal world. Let's say the animal world or the a lifeless world. I won't say lifeless world, but immobile. The mobility is not there. Obvious mobility is not there. So that sort of a world, maybe like woods and stones and things like that. So we will just look upon these three, and the words related with sattva gun are words like heaven, piousness, goodness, happiness. So whenever these positive traits are prominent, you be sure that you are ruled by sattva gun. If a little sorrows and ambitions, these rule you, then you know that you are being ruled by rajogun. But if you are deluded and you are not wanting to know, you are not wanting to act, that is, you are ruled by tamogun. Now, how do you become gunatit? Because God is supposed to be gunatit, that is beyond these three. So we can't not have these three in our lives, but we did not get disturbed by the presence of these three gunas. That is being gunatit. That means if there is happiness, I'm happy. But if it is not there also, it does not matter. Similarly, I'm ambitious, I'm not ambitious, I act. But if I don't get a chance to act, it does not bother me. And similarly, so when you are not bothered by the dualities in life, then you be sure that you are gunatit. And this, God says, is only possible if you get devoted to the higher cause, that is the ultimate knowledge. So when you are pursuing Jnaya, then you can overcome these three gunas gradually. That means these are the nature of Prakriti can be overcome when you try to understand the Purush element. Here the Purush does not mean the man as is understood by all of us, because man, here normal man also has a name and form. So something which is name and form is Prakriti. The one who rules this name and form is called Purush. So try and see how you like this chapter. I've tried to simplify it, and we'll be going to 15th chapter next time. We are coming very close to the 18th chapter. I hope you like it. This is Swami Radhikanand from Pune.